Recently we've been receiving a lot of comments asking us to compare the E-PL1 versus the GF1.
But recently a new camera was released, gatecrashing the mirrorless interchangeable lens camera party.
As they say, two's company, three's a crowd. So which one will be kicked out of the party? Let's find out. What's this? Alright, your task is to review the NX10, GF1 and E-PL1, and you will test the autofocus, image stabilisation and the auto modes.
But I was asked to do this by doing an open-top video tour of Hong Kong.
Also, you must get one tourist to come with you in the car.
I picked my prey, then pounced.
Open top. I don't mean my top is open. I'm not a pervert. It's for free.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Alright. It's just this way. And this is the bit where we drive off without our cameraman. So off we go on our tour of Hong Kong. On the left is the IFC Tower. Would you like to try out the Samsung NX10?
To start off with, we tested the autofocus of each camera, and I kicked off my rather amateurish tour of Hong Kong.
And on the right, you'll see the Hong Kong skyline.
And even though my performance as a tour guide was rather vague,
Lots more shiny big buildings.
the same could not be said about the GF1.
The big shiny triangle-y thing is the Bank of China building. I'd have to say that the GF1 autofocus is pretty damn quick.
Like the GF1, the NX10 features a much touted contrast detection autofocus system. But how does it compare? I wanted to find out for myself, and I was quite impressed.
Focus of the NX10 is pretty quick.
But the GF1 is pretty formidable.
So we got a few shots from the NX10 and the GF1. Now, do you think the GF1 has a faster autofocus or the NX10?
I would say the GF1.
Do you fancy trying out the E-PL1?
Some people have concerns about the focusing speed of the E-PL1, but there's only one way to find out. Well, it seems like Mr. Tourist had no problems getting the E-PL1 to focus properly.
Here we are in Central.
But how does the focus speed compare to the other two?
It's starting to get a lot darker now. This should be very testing for all three cameras. On the right we've got the HSBC building. It's the one in red and white. E-PL1 is having no problems focusing.
The difference in focusing speed between these three cameras, it's not really that discernible. But if you threaten to give me a Chinese burn, then I'll have to say that the E-PL1 has slightly slower autofocus, and I think the GF1 has the edge. But as it got darker, the camera was finding it harder to focus.
It seems like the NX10 starts to hunt a lot more. And to the right we've got the government buildings. If we're lucky we might see the protest.
Shooting from a moving car wasn't helping, and the low light required a slower shutter speed, which is not a great combination if you don't want your photos to look like it was strapped to the back of a kangaroo.
So let's try image stabilisation.
They all feature image stabilisation, but do they work? Yes.
Now in this kind of light, it's firing at about a 15th of a second, which is really testing the camera a lot, especially the IS. And now we are entering Lan Kwai Fong. This is where all the people get drunk and then throw up, just over there.
The IS on the E-PL1 lets you get more usable shots, and it works effectively for the Panasonic also.
Mega OIS. And on the right is the old police station.
Obviously none of these cameras have mirror slap, but the IS works on all three to give you usable shots even at the slowest of shutter speeds.
And this is Soho.
No, it's not.
Isn't it? So that is why they asked me to be a tour guide.
Right. You know your way around.
Yeah, ahead of you and slightly to the left and up is my granny's house.
Even though our tourist had something else in mind, I had other plans.
We're gonna take you to see the light show at 8 p.m. now. Okay, now we're gonna switch it to full auto to see how intelligent they are. All three cameras have a vaguely intelligent auto system. On the right, we've got an old church.
The full auto modes of each camera work well, with the GF1 and an NX10 working especially well. But I was starting to worry about some of the obstructions which might prevent us from getting to the light show on time.
By, some construction site workers.
I wanted to speed up proceedings a bit, so I had to make sure that the driver could hear me loud and clear.
I want to be subtle with this. And up ahead we see some more old people. I've deafened our tourist, unfortunately. He can't hear me anymore. Can you hear me okay? You can see the lovely old architecture around Zone 1. And on the left we see a kind of a maroon building. A market. Getting close to 8 o'clock now. Make it back in time for the light show. Lots of speed. Pedal to the metal. This is not actually the light show. These are just lights. This is not the light show. Come on, let's go, power! Yes! I think they're getting ready for the light show, actually. Come on. Come on! Bam! Light show! 8 o'clock! I have to say, the Smart also on the Samsung's pretty good. Almost there. You can do it, driver. He's the daddy.
We finally managed to cross the harbour, but unfortunately we couldn't see any light show.
Okay, it seems like we've missed the light show. I know you're probably looking forward to the light show, but there's some lights around you though, so that's almost as good.
So we decided to take Mr. Tourist back to his hotel. But we took some video on the way also.
When I first saw the NX10 announced, I didn't really like it, I must admit. But after holding it, it feels quite nice in the hands. It's very slim indeed.
It may not be the best looking of the three, and the electronic viewfinder is, well, electronic, and it's not the smallest. But the image quality you get from it is really quite good. With an APS-C size sensor, you get a decent noise performance. But the GF1 produces good image quality also, not forgetting the class-leading autofocus speed. Mind you, it is the most expensive of the three cameras. But just because the E-PL1 is cheaper than the rest, it doesn't mean it's the worst. In fact, it's my personal favourite of the three. It's a fun camera to use, especially with the art filters. And yes, the E-PL1 does have slower autofocus, but it's still usable. With each camera, there's a little something for everyone. For a full written review of the NX10, visit
DigitalRev.com. Photos, passion, you, user.